From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, June 8th. It's going to be a really nice day, pleasant in terms of temperatures and lots of sunshine through Thursday. There are some air quality concerns, though. It's going to be slightly unhealthy for those with respiratory issues because of the wildfire smoke coming from Canada. Otherwise, enjoy a calm and dry day with highs in the upper 70s. And we do have terrible breaking news out of France this morning. Following it on daybreak today, French authorities have detained a man that they say stabbed one adult and at least 4 young children under the age of 5 on a playground. French President Emmanuel Macron says that 2 of the children and the adult are between life and death. The attack happened in a town named Annecy in the French Alps. It's near the borders of both Switzerland and Italy. Police described the suspect as in his 30s. This is a developing story. Very preliminary information right now. We will be updating on air on all of our newscasts on Wish TV and, of course, online at wishtv.com.
I'm running because I think this country's in a lot of trouble.
Former Vice President and Indiana Governor Mike Pence is officially in the running for the Republican bid for the White House. He launched his bid in Iowa yesterday before participating in a CNN town hall last night. Pence answered questions from voters and addressed running against his former boss, former President Donald Trump. Pence condemned Trump's actions during the January 6th Capitol riots. He also broke from Trump when asked about the role of the United States in the war in Ukraine. Pence argued the U.S. should accelerate its support for Ukraine and criticized Trump's previous praise of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Pence also offered harsh criticism for Trump during his campaign announcement earlier in the day. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist was the only Indianapolis TV reporter at that announcement.
Pence had plenty of vitriol for current President Joe Biden, but he arguably went farther than any of his Republican rivals in criticizing Biden's predecessor. Pence leaned heavily on his actions on January 6, 2021. He says loyalty to the Constitution will mark his campaign and his potential presidency.
My former running mate continues to insist that I had the right to overturn the election. But President Trump was wrong then. And he's wrong now. I will always believe, by God's grace, I did my duty that day. I kept my oath to ensure the peaceful transfer of power under the Constitution of the United States.
That's sure to rankle Trump. Pence says he continues to pray for his old boss, but the 45th president should never set foot in the Oval Office again.
I believe that anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put them over the Constitution should never be president of the United States again.
Nearly a dozen Republicans are now vying for the party's nomination, including Pence and Trump. Pence's history with the former president makes him unique among the group. His older brother, Congressman Greg Pence, says he doesn't expect this to be a liability. Does he have a realistic shot at the Republican nomination?
Well, I think so. I hope so. It's all up to, you have to win Iowa. He'll have to win Iowa to move himself forward. And if he does well here, moves up in the polls, anything can happen.
Rank and file supporters tell me something similar.
You need to look at the person themselves. When I go out and vote, I base my vote off of the person and off their policies. I do research. I look into everything.
We've gone through a lot as a country, and we can use any improvement. We have a man here who has initiative, who has drive, and who has ideas that could spark. We just have to give him a chance to actually use his voice besides everything else that's gone on in the past.
Pence faces an uphill climb in the polls. Morning Consult just released the results of a new survey that put him in third among all of the Republican field. He took home 7% of respondents in that survey. Former President Donald Trump led the pack with 56% of respondents. In Des Moines, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
The Justice Department says former President Trump is the target in the special counsel's classified documents probe. CNN cites sources who've been informed of the target letter. We're told special counsel Jack Smith is looking into whether Trump possibly mishandled classified documents. The sources say the move solidifies that the investigation is focused on Trump's actions. They also say it's a sign prosecutors may be moving closer to indicting the former president.
Some of the same members of Congress who want to cut student aid personally received loans to keep their small businesses afloat during the pandemic. Some of the same members of Congress who supported this bill voted for huge tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy as well. But when it comes to hardworking Americans trying to get ahead, dealing with the student debt relief, that's where they drew the line.
President Biden is vetoing legislation that would have canceled his plan to forgive student debt. He shared that message on Twitter before blocking the bill. Despite the veto, the plan is not secure. The Supreme Court is reviewing a legal challenge that could eliminate the program. The court is set to issue a decision this summer. City leaders say major upgrades on Monument Circle in Indianapolis could lead to a ban on vehicles there. Road closed signs are set to go up after July 4th and stay up until November. City leaders say the southwest quarter of the circle will shut down while crews transform it into a pedestrian-only area. The city's calling it an experiment. If it's successful, leaders could consider closing the entire circle to traffic. Mayor Joe Hogsett hopes the project will bring larger crowds back downtown.
With a decrease in person workforce, it became clear that a larger, permanent population would be critical for our downtown's future.
The cost to close and transform Monument Circle will be $750,000. The city's also planning to redevelop Georgia Street. That will permanently close the first block of that road just east of the convention center. The Noblesville school shooter is set to remain in a Madison County jail where he's accused of punching a jail worker. A judge ordered him yesterday to stay in the jail until a dispositional status is reached in the case. The Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office tells News 8 that could happen through a trial or a plea. The shooter faces a felony count of battery on a public safety official. He's 18 now, but was 17 when investigators say he punched the employee. So the case will stay in juvenile court. He's set to appear in court on June 30th. And the entire state of Indiana is under an air quality action day. The Department of Environmental Management issued the alert for all counties yesterday and today. The department says it's due to the smoke from the Canadian wildfires. Officials urge people to limit time spent outdoors, keep your vehicle engine tuned and don't let it idle, turn off your lights, and set the thermostat to 70 or lower. So let's talk more about that smoke and how it's impacting the rest of the country. There are places in the United States really getting hit hard with this smoke. New York State has a yellow haze stretching across Kuka Lake. You can barely make out trees and hills in the video that we showed on Daybreak this morning. Officials in the eastern United States, places in New York, around New York, are warning people to stay inside and limit or avoid outdoor activities entirely. In D.C., schools are being canceled. They're canceling outdoor recess, sports, and field trips. New York's governor is calling the situation a crisis. Now, Canadian officials say more than 400 fires are burning across the country, and they've left more than 20,000 people displaced. A 19-year-old is now facing charges for fatally shooting a father and son at a Virginia high school graduation. Amari Pollard is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. It happened on Tuesday, and police say he was arrested yesterday. Officers say the suspect had a long-running dispute with one of the victims, 18-year-old Sean Jackson. Jackson's father, Lorenzo Smith, also died. We're told 5 other people were wounded. The final episode of 100 Days to Indy is set to premiere on Wish TV tonight. It'll turn the focus to race day at this year's 107th Indy 500. And as far as the driver who finished 8th in the race, he's now looking for a new team. Connor Daly and Ed Carpenter Racing announced a mutual agreement to part ways. Daly raced with ECR for multiple seasons, but has been full-time with the team since the start of the 2022 season. Ed Carpenter Racing says it'll reveal its new driver for the number 20 car for next weekend's Road America race in due course. And IndyCar driver Stephen Wilson got a special moment at IMS yesterday. He received his Indy 500 starters ring. Speedway President Doug Bowles and IndyCar President Jay Fry presented it to Wilson. As we've reported, Wilson qualified for this year's race but couldn't compete due to a broken back. The Great Pasta Push is well underway. Wish TV is making a drive to help stock Second Helpings in order to feed Indiana families. Second Helpings uses an average of 1,000 pounds of pasta every week. They say smaller pastas like macaroni, bow tie, and rotini are especially useful. Representatives say they can stretch monetary donations far as well. The need is even greater than before. Second Helping says inflation means it now takes $7 to feed a family of 4. You can help by dropping off boxes of pasta at any of our sponsor locations. You can find that list and a link to donate money on wishtv.com. Also today, the Indiana State Fair is hosting a job fair. The fair is looking to fill hundreds of seasonal vacancies for the upcoming fair. Officials say there are open positions at parking, security, information booths, and educational exhibits. The fair is at the Blue Ribbon Pavilion on East 38th Street. It runs from 4 to 6. In Colts Watch, the team hosts Colts at Bat at Victory Field tonight. Lineman Quentin Nelson, mascot Blue, and several cheerleaders will be there to sign autographs. Nelson will also throw out the ceremonial first pitch. You must purchase a ticket to the game in order to participate in the Colts festivities. Autographs start at 6. First pitch is at 7:05. And to business headlines, just more than half of Generation X, those born between 1965 and 1980, have little to nothing socked away for retirement, according to Prudential Financial. 35% of the 65 million Gen Xers have less than $10,000 saved, and 18% have no savings. Oldest members of Gen X are about a decade from retirement age. Used vehicle prices reached their lowest level of the year in May. Sales fell amid high interest rates and inflated retail prices. Cox Automotive says used retail sales are estimated to have been down 11% year over year in May. Google tells employees in New York and along the East Coast to work from home as the wildfire smoke fills the air. At one point, New York City had the worst air quality in the world from the Canadian wildfires. Amazon is planning to launch an advertising-supported tier of its Prime Video streaming service. The Wall Street Journal reports advertisers say they're eager to have Amazon offer an ad tier for Prime Video service, which would follow similar moves by other streaming platforms, including Netflix and Disney. Advertising has been an area of continued growth for Amazon. And Taco Bell is testing a vegan crunch wrap, marking the first time that Taco Bell has sold a fully vegan entree. It'll offer plant protein. The vegan version is priced the same as a traditional wrap, which ranges from $4.99 to $6.79, depending on the city. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.